Welcome, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Good to see you. I will hand over the meeting to our Secretary General for the World, Shankar Diamond. Shankar, how's it going today in India?
Hi. Hello, Marty.
Hey,
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Good to see everyone. And welcome for this great moment that I've been waiting for. And going to listen to him here, and we're going to understand how the world treats the communities and empowerment. And I'm so excited to see how $1 trillion market can be uncovered. And I've been waiting for a while to learn from him. And that's it.
Yeah, we had a little bit of feedback coming in. I wasn't sure if it was from England with Duchess Letitia. Did it go away now?
Henry Gage?
Yes, Henry Gage is coming in today as well. We've got Henry teed up and ready. Any New Year's greetings before we go into the new year, Mr. Secretary?
Well, I just wanted to say the new year is what we are waiting for, because one of my favorite pet project is Art District in Ahmedabad. And with the new year and with the presidential magazine and the TGOC, we really believe that art precedes economic development. And art is not just art. Art is higher intelligence flowing through humans, provided we kind of come closer. The distance between humans disappear and God appears. And that is how I see Mr. Gage's wisdom going to be uncovered in terms of how humans can come together. The greatest secret on the planet, the greatest things could happen when we all align. Because I did something long back, a program that wanted to do a lot of good for humans, but I saw that there was no alignment. And with this global embassy of culture, we see the small and the big, the rich and the poor, the leader and the non-leader, all working together, orchestrating a world that works for everyone with nobody left out. That is my New Year wish.
Absolutely. I'd like to throw it over to Vincent in Africa then. Vincent in Nigeria, Vincent Adeosun, our secretary. Anything going on that you need business taken care of? I know the scholarship winner. If you want to give us an update on how she's doing, our scholarships are for members only to put forward. And Vincent had put forward his sister. We don't allow scholarships for anyone else outside. So if you're a paying member, and you would like to nominate a family member, it can be a cousin, a nephew, an auntie, an uncle, a brother, a sister. They just need to be in your family. And Vincent put his sister forward. She's studying for her doctorate. Vincent, you want to tell us how she's doing?
Absolutely. Yeah, first of all, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. She's doing great, and so far, so good. I've gotten the system for her, and I believe that during that period when she put in the application, she was having exams, so she was able to get the system, and along the line, she was able to use the system for exams and also for tests. So it was resourceful at that period. But another part I also want to bring into this question is I want to do a shout out to all our members. I know that to a large extent I've been disturbing a lot of us in the process of sending messages, sending greetings. I just wanted to know that everything we do from time to time is just to serve you. And I know that with our guests today, I believe that we are preparing for a great 2026. And one thing that really struck me in the course of the week and in the course of this year is the place of how the world is. Currently, when I check the statistics of the population in the world, I saw that we have about 8 billion people in the world today. And I don't know if you are listening to me and you don't feel special. Just checking that alone. If you still doubt if you are special, just check your thumbprint. We have over 8 billion people in the world. And the fact that you are alive today simply means that you are unique and you are special. And that is what we stand for as an organization, to amplify your voice and also to give you room for you to contribute value in a community like ours. Thank you so much. So that is my message for the world, and that is my message for all our members.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Doing a great job. My gosh. Vincent puts together the newsletter every month. He keeps everybody on track. He makes people happy. He answers questions uh, across the internet, questions we get from our website, membership requests, people that want to know about, hey, how can I be featured on the show? By the way, shows are progressing. We are jacked up all the way through October of next year. So the next opening would be November. We may actually have a former administration member of the Kennedy family, Senator Kennedy's uh, uh, group, will come on for November. But I would like to get on Duchess Letitia either in November or December for a show, or maybe a United States Presidential Service Center special just for her. And would you let us know what's going on in England in your world? I know you haven't been having a lot of fun. I went to the hospital twice myself this week. You're at the hospital actually right now. Letitia, what's happening in England? Oh, you're muted. Oh, sorry. I have you muted? I'm so stupid.
Sorry. Can you hear me now? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everybody where you are all over the world. I hope you are doing very well. So I have a quite a complex medical condition, and at the same time with that, also within my spiritual practices and stuff like that, it can be to the point that when I'm fasting and stuff, I'll go 3 days without sleeping as such. So that has occurred. And at the moment, it's just like checking that everything is all right. So I have bipolar, and so they can be a bit ups and down and stuff like that. So I was a bit on the up, but even while still being here, with the sheer fact that how modern society has developed and we have this digital age that we have, I'm still networking and promoting and doing the stuff that I do. So I'm a artist, a songwriter, and an author. And within my book, Restored, is very much a self help book in understanding and embracing the very uniqueness of each individual. And not just that, being able to know that you can always keep getting yourself back up, regardless of how others may view or may not understand your condition. So even whilst I'm here, I have been supporting different patients and that with their own stuff, with their housing and their bills, trying to go through their paperwork because it's one of those things where some people don't have family and stuff to be able to support them with some of the difficulties, and in some cases, people have been taken advantage of with some of those stuff. And so I'm more or less supporting people now at the moment whilst I'm in here, waiting for consultants to be discharged. So yeah, and I did also miss an award ceremony from this week, as I had won Best Artist within my music. So always try to keep focus on the positives, and sometimes you need a space from everybody so that you can just focus on your health. So one of the things I always teach is your health comes first with everything. If you ain't got your health, there's only so much you can do. That's me.
Absolutely, yeah. Health is wealth is always being said, and as I get older, I'm 60 now. Been thinking about that more because Monday, trying to get in the hospital, I was about ready to get in a wheelchair. I could only walk about 6 feet at a time. I looked like an infant. I was like, and I had to stop every 6 feet. My whole lower back was so out. I was like, I cannot believe I'm going to go to a wheelchair. But it took me a while. It took me about 10 minutes to walk from the parking lot to the front door. And
That's a
another
big
10.
achievement. It's a big achievement to have been able to.
Thank God I can walk again, man. I got some anti-inflammatories. Stormy said, look, you're there. You might as well go to the clinic emergency room. Go down there, So I did. But we're praying for you. I prayed for you within my Christian beliefs. Earlier this morning, I was reminded of the fact again. You told me you're still there. So, Shankar, if it's okay with you, I'd like to shift to Canada with Dr. Charlene and find out what's going on up in the freezing tundra of the deep snows with her and Mike.
Sure, Marty. Looking forward. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Whatever time zone you're in. Yeah, Canada's quite cold right now. I was on a trip to the East Coast and had flight delays and missed ground transportation. It was incredible. So things are going well. I am getting multiple speaking engagements in the new year with the school board here, and always concentrating on the safety of children online. We're hoping for a little more warm weather, but we had quite a storm yesterday too, so we were housebound. But anyway, I wish everyone well, and if it's nice and warm where you are, cherish every moment.
Thank you, Dr. Charlene. Hand it back over to Shankar, our Secretary General for the world. And I guess I better not get in trouble, Shank, and skip my wife, Stormy.
Yes, of course.
Just back from an award on stage at Arlington National Cemetery for the United States Military Women's Memorial. All the 13 ladies up on stage. Stormy, maybe unmute and let us know what's going on with your feelings about having gotten this award. Amazing.
Yeah, it was quite a shock to be notified of getting this award, and I was always one of those that kind of downplayed their military service because I feel like I played such a small part, but I was reminded again that everybody does their part in the service, and just to make it through boot camp is an amazing accomplishment. And some of the other things that I was able to do in support of the U.S. military during the first Gulf War, I worked on engines for the F-14s, and then later I worked on H-46 helicopters, which is the big double rotor ones. You may have seen pictures of those too. And of course the F-14 is the Tomcat, which is from Top Gun. If you've ever seen that movie, I think everybody at least knows about Top Gun. But it was such an honor to be awarded that along with the other ladies. at the Women's Memorial there at Arlington Cemetery. It's a hallowed ground, as they say. So it was quite an honor. And then also was able to participate in Wreaths Across America to honor at Christmas time the fallen soldiers there.
That was amazing. The millions and millions of wreaths across the United States on the graves. We did also honor a Jewish grave. You're not allowed to put a green wreath on there. But we put a pebble on the top of the grave. They asked you to put a stone, a rock, or a pebble. So without further ado, I think we're going to jump over to Henry Gage Jr., who's going to do his presentation now. And Henry, it's our honor to welcome you to the stage today. Henry Gage Jr. coming to us from, you're up there, Henry, in New York State. It's not that warm up there, I don't think, right? Oh, yep, unmute, good buddy. We see that you're muted still, so I know he was messing.
That was me. I muted it because we were talking. Sorry about that.
I got
so yes, we're in upstate New York. I'll ask Dr. Sally Warren, what was the temperature outside today?
The temperature, I think, was around 20, maybe 27 by now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, yes, it's cold. And part of what you learn about the work that we do, in addition to community service, we've really been strongly focused on hemp insulation. That's kind of how we established a brand up here. So with that said, I thought we'd have a bit of a conversation of sorts. And I'll defer to Marty for how we do this. And so I guess at the beginning of the conversation, first of all, let's time box our time together. How would you like to box this particular segment?
Yeah, I mean, we're at 11:18 right now. We like to finish up by about noon. We're flexible, and we have questions that randomly come in from all 8 channels worldwide.
Okay.
Kind of filter those, but we'll do some questions towards the end.
Okay, so if you could give me a 5-minute warning before question time. And
Okay.
then as we go through question, if you could give like a 2 or 3 minute warning when we're out of time.
Or I can give you the gong.
That works too. So here's what we have in mind.
The Genghis Khan.
Yes, the
Those-
sheep hook.
Yes, those
We got
are
to get that thing in the background. I'm going to get Vincent over there in Africa with a huge Genghis Khan, about a 6-foot big dong that he can hit live on. That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah, so we,
Okay.
yeah, this is the story I could tell us. So let's go ahead and dive in. I'll kind of set a context like this. There's so much we could learn about each other, so much. And when I think of all the things we could talk about with this limited time that we have together, I'd like it to bring it a bit of a story, if you will. It's kind of the beginning of a story. And we'll need to expand on it as we get to know each other. So for reference purposes, what I did in the chat is I put a couple of links. One of them is Maya data. So I think what I'll do is I'll go straight there. So if you could go to the Maya data page, Marty, and bring that on. Great. So what you'll see on that page, and I'm going to open my page also, and it's in a different window, so I'm going to do a slight trick and see if when I move it here, how long does it take? Oh, it moves pretty fast. It's in sync. Great. So basically, the concept that this comes from is decades of community work. So back in the 70s, right, that takes us back a ways. So Sally and I are actually approaching 100. Okay, no, not 100, 70. Okay, we're approaching 70.
Yeah.
But we think there's something about the quality of the air in this house that's helping us fight the things that are always trying to attack. Because the wall you see behind us is made of industrial hemp. And we built New York's first hemp lime retrofit back in 2019. Now, a reason we haven't really marketed it a lot is because the notion is, why? What are we going to say? Do we want a pat on the back? And the answer is no. Our goal is to help people. Now I have to back to the 70s, and I'll just go forward really fast. So I was blessed to help my father, God rest his soul. He was a sergeant in the Army, so I definitely vibe with everything that has to do with the military because I used to go to commissary with my mother, right? Now I'm curious, for some of the people here, it sounds like we've got people from all over the world running different organizations. I know the back and forth might be a bit complex for this setting, but what I want to propose is maybe we'll do an event at some time in the future, a traveling event that we can do together in different places, because there's nothing quite like being in the same room with someone with the technology out of the way. The other thing that we'll commit to doing in the next 2 days is Sally and I are going to tell two stories, right? One of the stories is about the story of two villages. It's basically one village was focused on fishing, the other village was focused on working the land, like farming. And they started off basically a barter system because that's the beginning of many things before money was created. Now, of course, when you go forward in time, we're heading toward a disaster because you're talking about automation, robots, and AI. That is jeopardy for everyone. I'm a degreed electrical engineer. I've studied computer science. I wrote wash cell algorithms for banks. I stopped doing that around 2018 when I helped another bank. I thought everyone was going to benefit, but they laid my friends. I was a consultant, so I didn't expect they would keep me. So I saw a friend because I was out in the community and asked how it's going. He told me what happened. He's looking for a job and said, "They laid you off? Really? After all that work that we did? We saved them all this money with that productivity." I told myself at that moment, I'm done. No more of that, right? Now, keep in mind, everyone has to do their own thing their own way. I could do it because we had planned steps to make this possible. In collaboration with Sally, we figured these things out together. So let's continue that timeline. So in the 70s, I was blessed to work with my father, Sergeant Gage. He was also president of the NAACP in San Jose, California. At that time, he taught me some things about how do you get buildings like from cities for $1. There's a way of doing that if you're a nonprofit. I listened to what he said. He also taught me about nonprofits, and he started the African American Community Service Agency. And I was the one who drew the logo for it, and I came up with the slogan. The slogan that was impressed upon me through the spirit was strength and unity. So what I actually drew at that time was two hands holding a torch. The torch kind of represented kind of that life flame, if you will. There were African colors on it because it meant so much to me, but one hand was black, one hand was white, because the notion was we have to get along. We have to collaborate. It's not about skin color, it's about people. So that was impressed upon me. And that's why on the Maya data site, you'll see strength and unity. That goes back 4 decades. Because if you go back and look, the African American Community Service Agency is the longest running African American organization in California, nonprofit. Right, it's 5 decades old. They're honored in their stories. Some people who I met on the East Coast, they thought, "You getting paid?" I said, "No, I never got paid anything for that." "What? And it's still going?" It's like, yeah. It's because that was the purpose and the design and the intent. So going forward in time, technology, I'll skip that part, but left the West Coast in California, San Jose, California is when I went to high school. San Jose, California is where I went to college. Because I was technical and because I paid attention to things, I found myself learning entertainment of all things. So when you hit that gong, it reminded me of a show that I did. I was into people, so I was always doing things to help people. What I learned from that is how to govern organizations and lead large events. So I learned how to put together stages and things of that sort. The way you learn that, for folks who are listening to this later, is you volunteer, you get involved, and you start becoming a project manager. Basically, I didn't know the word at the time, but I knew what it meant once I got into work. What did I do? Well, I volunteered to be on the picnic committee at church, right? And so what ends up happening is you got to figure things out. How much food? What's the transportation? This and that. I like science, so I'm that guy who put together a spreadsheet to calculate how many pieces of chicken, sausage, vegetables, rice, and all the different things that people are going to need. And I did a formula for it because that's the way my mind works. So that way I could get all the food right. That's what a project manager does. They plan the details out. So if you want to get ready to help your community, focus on project management. So now fast forward to, 2014. Circumstances I'll tell about another time on stage when we see each other. We find ourselves heading to New York. It's a big cross-country trip, big adventure. We land in the New York area in Jersey City. Now, that caused me to immediately engage with community, because unless you've been in communities like those, you can't imagine the things you can get into. All kinds of opportunities present themselves. Yes, the infrastructure was terrible. I couldn't imagine what I saw, the General Passaic Bridge, all this rust. I said, wow, this is America. It really hit me at my core. See, partially because as an engineer, I know we can fix all these things, right? I've traveled and I've seen, like, I was in Europe, we were in England, and I'm over there taking pictures of the tube to show friends, because I'm just trying to say to people, we're so far behind because we've been doing stupid things with our money. And I'm not going to blame just one side. So I said, what can I do to help? I can be a project manager. So I volunteered to be the project manager for the Unity Walk. And we were able to grow that walk to the most successful walk on the East Coast for years in a row because of logistics and details. But then I learned another thing. That was the power of collaboration. So what you see on the website here, where we talk about the power of collaboration, there is a benefit when you can get multiple organizations together. Now, the way that worked is I ended up meeting Pam Johnson. She won't mind if I say her name. I also knew Judea Caldwell. Judea Caldwell is late great Senator Kennedy's aide for over 20 years. She was the one who actually traveled to Africa with Senator Kennedy to create healthcare. Now, when you have a minute, I'll get to the other site soon, but I want you to share her GoFundMe. She won't say much about it, right? She's a hardworking lady, but they have cut her Social Security off for about 6 months plus. So she's had no income. She got fired from a hospital because guys were hitting on her. Sexual harassment. They never got punished. She lost her job. Tell me what's right about that. So what we try to do while we're building this is we support each other. But we've stayed low until now. Now back to the collaboration. So with collaboration and with the process of getting that walk organized, when we left the Jersey City area and moved up to the Kingston, New York area, it was time to work on a retrofit of a house that was going to be our forever home, kind of idea. But then it was Sally who said, well, what are we going to do for insulation? I hadn't thought about it yet. And I said, well, probably spray foam. And she said, no. I said, why? Well, because it's not healthy. I said, you know what? You're right. I hadn't thought about it. But as soon as you said that, now I'm thinking about it. No, we can't do that. What can we use? I heard about something called hempcrete. Oh, okay, let's look. Wow. Are you kidding? You can make insulation from a plant? My mind was like that, 2019, right? Now, Dr. Sally, would you say a moment about the health benefits of hemp lime in terms of dealing with what you said at Code Council about $1 billion of lawsuits?
So Henry and I presented hemp lime to the building code council a few years back to get it into building code permanently, because it has so many benefits. Apart from when it's growing in a field and producing more oxygen than the same acreage of trees, it also sequesters more carbon dioxide than the same acreage of trees. So that is a permanent storage that you can actually get paid for.
What's
when
that
you
behind
have
us?
it in your home. This is it behind us. Not only does it do great things while it's growing, but it is extremely long lasting. When you have hemp, you have decades and decades, hundreds of years of healthy home, rather than the pink fluffy stuff and sheetrock, which may be a couple of decades, if you're lucky.
Exactly. So her point being that it's possible for us to grow our own insulation.
Mm-hmm.
And so what does that mean? That means that what we're on track for doing here in New York is we've worked for years to develop a cultivar. Now, it starts getting complex because, like I mentioned a moment ago, when we were in Jersey and it was time to head up to upstate New York to start this project, we had to get organized. Now, since I'm a project manager and she's an analyst, we did all of the work ourselves, plus we hired some people to help. And we actually came up with a whole program we can show people how to acquire property independent of credit score. But see, didn't want to start all that because it would have been through email. And so what happens is when you go to an event, right, as a community organizer, and you meet with people, people come towards you and you hand out cards. So yeah, I've got my card, you've got your card, great stuff. But then what happens is your email gets flooded. What's happened after that is we can't really trust our email inboxes now, because now that we're at the point of AI, there's a lot of spam and garbage that's going on in there. So the notion is that we need to get ready to take some action. So after this call, I'm going to basically encourage everyone to check out the My Data website. Now I'm going to see if I can change to another tab because I want to show you where this goes. So make sure to go and do some browsing on the site and see what's there. And I'm going to stop screen sharing, and then I'm going to select a different screen. And for this particular screen, this is going to be the Voices for Progress.
Yeah, we've got those scrolling, the mayadata.net, the voicesforprogress.net, and the billgreennow.net.
Okay, so now I'm showing the voices. Let me know when it comes. I think it'd be 30 seconds later. But
there we go.
Okay, great. And I'll move it to the other screen so I can watch also. So basically what this site is an example of Maya data. So what we did is we said, you know what, everyone wants their own brand, but at the same time, we want to talk together and work together. And so we said, well, let's do a site that allows for that. So to create an example, we said, well, let's take the Voices for Progress message, which is that's what we're going to be going and talking about. It basically focuses on preference discovery and consensus building. So we will be teaching about preference discovery and consensus building. Now, what we know is that for collaboration, once you get to consensus, it's time for action. That's where the opportunity is hidden. This is what's going to help us. So I'm just going to look at a couple things here. So on this site, we basically have included a click through to the actual page where you can go to log into the platform. We are doing all of this on our own dime, basically. We've managed to get favor with a company, Nexen Minds, out of India. They have over 600 engineers. They love what we're doing so much that their CEO, Raj, said that I want to partner with you. So we're in a 3-year partnership with the team. So what that means is if anyone needs some technical services and they want it done fast and it's someone you can trust, contact me. I can put you in contact with the team lead. It's a young, energetic group of people who can help us solve puzzles. I tried doing it in community multiple times. We won't go into all the details. They're going to help with that also. But what you'll find is that you'll see how we're approaching this. What you'll see in this is there's an organization structure designed to help people create projects. This is where we kind of describe what's going on. And just to give you by way of background, I've actually listened to all of the Federalist Papers. There's also what's called the Anti-Federalist Papers. And I think I'm going to stop showing my screen here and just go straight conversation, because the other items you can look up later. So I'm going to bring it back to just full screen, my face, if you can do that.
Yeah.
We'll stop the screen share. So what I invite you to do after the call is to go and take a look at some of the content that's on the site. And what you'll find is that there are a couple things that were talked about in the Constitution that are, based on what was the conversations. It turns out there's energy in this area that allows for this creativity. Indigenous people were the ones who actually informed the Constitution because it comes out of, centuries of experience. This whole triad, this trinity of executive and legislative and judicial. But there's some things that are missing. What's missing is pursuit of happiness. Because see, what's happened is we have so much freedom that people have the freedom to lie, cheat, and steal. And so some people have taken that to an extreme in our view. And the benefit now is to rebalance by a group of people focusing on doing the good they want to do, but do it in an orderly, structured way. Because I said to a friend of mine, I am Manu. Um, God rest his soul. He was a former Black Panther. He's the kind of guy who used to go into New York City and rescue people and take them upstate and teach them to farm. And I said to him, said, Manu, it doesn't matter which side of the aisle. You give folks like $3 million to go out and do some community work, give them about a year and a half and they'll be in jail. And we both laughed. Said, yeah, you're right. And see, the reason is because people don't always know the boundaries. And you also have this other dichotomy where you have people who go to college and they get all this head knowledge. Then people who grew up just living life and figuring it out, they have street world knowledge. The trouble is that they don't communicate well. They're terrible at communicating because of all the judgment that's going on. Everybody has a context, and for them, it's real and it's true. There's a truthfulness to it. If you go to their hood and you behave the way you behave, if you don't know the culture, people will know and you will feel it, right? So that's why I realize that everybody has a certain sense of congruence of who they are that must be respected in order to start collaboration and communication. So that's some of the work that we've kind of perfected, is helping people learn how to collaborate. Now, the part it fell down at is, how do you do the 1, 2, 3 steps? That's what Voices for Progress does. So in the future, what we'll do is we'll set up some sessions where we can actually allow a person to, create their own working group, create their own site. So as part of that, basically, we will, send you a link. So right now we're writing that part of the code. The other part of the real complicated part is done. We're on the easy part now. Now is an ideal time to get involved. Like, for example, I'm looking at the work that Marty's doing. I was looking at the different groups in WhatsApp, and I was thinking, wow, wouldn't it be interesting if we had a test project just to kind of see how it works? Because we have to tune each piece to see how it works. And we went in there and we said, for each of these different groups, what if we created a working group for each of them? Now, within the working group, what happens is there's what's called a mobile app. So not only do you look at the website, but you can also download a mobile app to have it on either an Android or iOS. See, I say all that. People who know technology know how massive a job it is to do all that, plus a website. It's completely different technologies. If you want to have a design for any of these devices, you need engineers. So we had 10 engineers working on this for about a year. That's how we got here. It's only because of NextEn Minds and the deal that we made. Now, what do you get with the experience? Think of it as a task at a time delivery. All the dashboards you need, all that stuff. But here's where it really gets strong. Let's say you want to put together a project, several milestones, several tasks in a particular area for one of your many working groups. You don't have to mix them all together in an email. Instead, it's like within that one working group, it's just communication with them. If you add someone else to it, the project manager or supervisor for the group, they can just invite someone to the group. So now all your documents are in one place that you can share with each other. It goes on and on from there. And then when you get into task sharing, what the project manager would do, they'd say, you know what, Bob, I want you to do this. So they'd get an alert on their phone, say, oh, you got a task. You open the task up and see, this is where all the other applications fall down. You're just supposed to check whether you're done or not. What they don't cater to very well is that's where the work is. How do you do the task, right? It's like, man, I don't know what to do. How do you even say that to a person? Do you send them an email? Now all of a sudden you're out of bound with your communication. Instead, the way we've designed it is that, man, I don't know what to do. Just put it in the app and then go on with your day. You're on the bus. It's like, I don't have time for all this. So the project manager can then see that and then say, oh, you know what? They need a video. They should, okay. And then you go right back to the task and you look at it. It's like, oh, okay, click there and watch a video. Watch the video. Do this, do that, do that. I'll pause there because it's kind of the limit of our imagination. But just know that a reason we're here is because we feel called to provide the back-end technology for Earth. See, at first we're going to release a version for like United States. But then the Indian team we're talking with saying, Henry, we could use this in India. And then I was looking at stats on Africa and I said, oh my God, with the average age at like 19.7, years, and at the number of people there and the openness to new technology, our plan is to get to places like Kenya and say, you know what, we're focused on delivering tasks to flip phones and pagers. Because if we work together, we can do it at that level. We don't have to go with all the fancy technology. And by the way, all that AI stuff, yes, we're going to use that, but we'll use it our way. It'll be people controlling AI and robots because that's how you get productivity. If you had a choice of going out in the farm on a snowy day or a hot day and you could send a robot out there to do it, you would send the robot. The difference is it would be our robot. I'm going to pause there. What comes to mind for you, Marty?
Well, I see we have one question on the board already there. What has been the most exciting breakthroughs you have had with working with community projects? And we'll do that one first. Yeah.
Sure, they're all so different and
I would
quite
do
the
the money
expanse.
that you managed to secure with just one
Okay,
line.
the Jersey City one-liner.
Exciting
Yeah.
breakthrough.
Thank you, Sally. The Jersey City one-liner. Here's how it went. We were there in around, I don't know, 2020. It was before COVID and all that. What had happened is there was a
2018.
person who had said, oh, Governor Murphy is supposed to be giving out $3 million or $15 million to help the community for all of New Jersey. So I looked at it and I
Anti-violence.
said, this is for anti-violence, for gun violence, dealing with that. So I read the legislation. I said, okay, I see the problem. The problem is that the mayor is going to try to grab that money and go out and buy drones and helicopters, right? And then not really solve the problem. So I met with some community friends and I said, so what do you think? And they said, Henry, I don't know, because they invited. I said, you know what? First of all, they should call you Executive Director Hesse, right? Don't have them just invite you to a meeting with their $100 an hour consultants and they give you a sandwich and a juice. And then you go home sad because then they show up later, they write a report on what you said. So what we did is we wrote one sentence and it said, must
Legislation.
include a community-based organization in the legislation. And so we put that up there so everybody could see it and read it and show where it was going to go. And then we got about 13 different organizations together. So it was about 15 people. We jumped in a van and we went and we spoke before Congress in Jersey. So we were like 15 deep. Each of us kind of testifying before Congress. But see, the representative was friendly. What she was missing was good community support. That has been a consistent message that we've seen, including at the legislative sessions here in New York, where they will spend $1.75 million and there'll be nobody from the community in the room even thinking about it, ask a question during the public comments. So during that public comments, we took full advantage of it. We spoke, long story, it got passed. They said that, yes, they put the sentence in and then we used it. So fast forward a few months over at Rutgers University in Jersey, and I was the only person from our group that could go. So it was time for questions. I raised my hand. I said, excuse me, but I look around the room and I don't really see the community represented here very well. And so, the president of the university was a little like that. I was trying to put him on the spot just to clarify, not to hurt any feelings, just to clarify.
Stormy does a good job at this too. She likes to go to events for the school board, actually show up. They'll go 20, 25, 30 people. They find it to be very important. Yeah. Along with that question was the corresponding challenges faced. You mentioned that. Question number 2 is, how do we unlock 1 trillion for public benefit with what you have shared with us?
So here's how we unlock that. The thing is, I had to tell the Metcalf story. So the Bob Metcalf story goes like this. Bob Metcalf is the guy who did 3Com, basically. He gave away like $100,000 to a young person and it ruined their life. They weren't ready for managing it. So you got 2 parts to it. One is you have people who want to give away money, but they don't see a method of doing it in a way that keeps them safe. Then you have people who want to receive money, but they don't have an orderly way of making that connection. So the way we get at that $1 trillion is through a platform like this. The reason is it's going to take time to grab the attention, confidence, and trust of those who have that money. Because if you were to go out and do a prompt like right now, the number of billionaires who've already committed to give away a lot of money, hundreds of billions of dollars, and the hundreds of billions of dollars that are given away by states, like the United States, for example, even though they cut aid, still within communities, there's hundreds of billions of dollars that are being delivered to communities. But what's happening is that that money is substantially ineffective. And so we're not actually getting the results out of that we can get. So through a process like this, the way we unlock that trillion is each of us in each of our areas organize amongst ourselves by following best practices. So within your working group, you take the experienced people who can help lead and you structure it into a working group. So for example, I was sitting at a table just last week because we were speakers at a local industrial hemp event, and people were saying, "I want to do processing. I want to do, da, 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 da." Now, see, that's a billion-dollar industry that's starting and money that's going to be shared. Except there wasn't an orderly way of going about it and presenting it. So what I put on the table is I said, you know what? There are about 5 different separate projects here at this table. And what I knew is that they were going to intersect and cancel each other out. That's what's happening to us now. A lot of stuff we're doing is intersecting and canceling stuff out. Instead, we have to segment things, parallelize it, and support each of those so they can each go in their own lanes. The $1 trillion is in front of us right now if we just order ourselves in a certain way and stay orderly and invite everyone who has that same resonance to get with that. Because here's what the magic, I think, of what we just achieved. In engineering, there's something called resonant frequency, right? Resonance. Resonance is that frequency at which you apply an energy to a thing where you can give the maximum transfer of energy and power. And so if you're out of resonance and you got just a discord going on, you're not getting much power at all. But the minute things start lining up just a little bit, and start getting into resonance, you're talking real power, exponential power.
And the next one we had was, I can put into the comments actually, how do you reach people who feel ignored, burned out, or distrustful of institutions?
They should. They absolutely should feel that way because they have been burnt out. They've been taken advantage of. So I think the idea is we cannot just go into a community, and each scenario is going to be quite different. It's going to start off building a relationship. In fact, where we are right now, if you look on our website, it will say financial sustainability and then environmental. See, we got a lot of friends who are in the farming and environmental sustainability, but the point is that no, nobody's going to do anything until they're fed, clothed, and feel comfortable. So if you really want to deal with it, you have to deal with the financial sustainability part. So some of those people, no one's dealing with the financial. So the way we're doing this is we have a component called a public benefit contract. Now, as part of
Sorry about that, guys. It looks like I lost him for a second there, so he'll come back here. The other question that had come up today, I'll just break to while we're waiting for Henry to come back in, is what's more important at the start, passion, structure, or leadership, and why? And I think I'll throw that out there to anybody that wants to bite on it. I can put it up to where we can see it. So this is what's more important at the start. And really, with the art district of Ahmedabad, these guys are cranking over there in India, getting this whole thing started up. Shankar, let me showcase this one. What's more important at the start, passion, structure, or leadership, and why? So there's that question while we're waiting for Henry to come back in, which he will. But like with the art district there, what's been the most important for you?
The art district is definitely a passionate project, but it is more than passion because it is got some higher connection and timing attached to that. Henry, I was just filling in the time while you were away, but the question is
for a second, buddy. We'll be right back.
It cut off. So what happened? Just suddenly blanked.
Anyway, we threw the next question out. What's more important at the start, passion, structure, or leadership, and why? And I threw that over to Shankar in India with the art district of Ahmedabad.
Yes. So I was meaning to say that passion comes first for me. At the same time, the structure is simultaneously working because I believe here in Ahmedabad, art precedes economic development. When we say that, we are saying the minds, the higher minds, the passionate minds have to have this artistic quality that leads to structuring. So it's more like the right brain goes to the left brain and creates whatever that needs to be created. I will pause at that and have Henry's view on this so that we can co-create something together in the future.
I like the way you said that. So just so I get the parts right. So it was a question of Would you restate the question, Marty, just so I get it clear?
Yeah, it's right here at the bottom. What's
I
more
see it. I
important
see
at
it.
the start? Is it
Passion
passion?
or leadership?
Is it
Okay,
structure or leadership?
got it. Passion, again, as you indicated, and the reason I say passion is because every place on earth there's a different culture, depending on how a person was raised, and the culture is valid, right? Regardless of what you think about it. And so what I find goes on within the culture, what we've developed is what we call positivity. And the reason we use that term is because we wanted to be separate from religion, and we refer to religions as sacred texts because we want to respect all, because those are connected to culture. So by respecting culture, we say, well, what is really going to drive momentum forward? It's going to be a form of a positivity. Now, it has to go a little deeper into something we haven't talked about yet, which is we've defined, because Sally's a PhD in metaphysics and my background being technical engineering, we've defined something called a quantum junction. That's where, matter and theory kind of come together at one point where a decision is made. It's the difference between this and that. Now, at that moment in time, that's almost imperceivable. Sometimes we say we want to get better because we found ourselves down a pathway and we're trying to work our way back to the junction where the decision was made. There's like that African saying that says, when you fall, don't look at basically where your nose is, look at where you stumbled. So we're trying to go back and figure out, well, what is it that causes us to go this way and that way? That's something that we have to work on, because we have to figure out is how do we keep ourselves passionate enough to face the obstacles and push through them with an expectation. Now, I say that with a real case in point, because just yesterday we did something here at the Hemp House that people said you couldn't do. It was passion that got us through. But then as soon as passion does its work, it's absolutely necessary to have some structure and leadership combined.
Mm-hmm.
They're all wed together like a trinity, because the leadership part of it is you're looking at someone to decide, am I going to follow what they're doing? And that actually raises a point. Like we were talking about, like, what do we want to talk about today? Are we going to ask for money today? No, you can go on the website and see what we're up to. But see, the opportunity for investing is not in what we claim we're going to deliver in your pocket tomorrow, but at the history of what we've done, which is a proof of work.
Mm-hmm.
So that proves leadership. So some people, they want to work with people who have proof of work. So there's a search, because you can't trust AI, you can't trust the internet. So now I think the restart is you go meet someone and then you work with them and you get their reputation, because that's the only way people are going to follow leadership. And then the leaders are going to have already have a part of their structure in place. And see, that's why we built the platform the way we did, because as soon as a person says they want to do something, then you go to the structure for how you move it forward efficiently.
Absolutely. So to have the structure ultimately. Last question for today is, how do you balance welcoming everyone with maintaining focus and momentum?
Great question.
Yeah,
It really
so
is, yeah.
a lot depends on the room, right?
Mhm.
Because depending on what the room is, like if it's just you and that person, you have time to get to know them. But if it's a room, an audience with a lot of different people, and you met someone, you know the motivations, and someone like brings up a question that's completely non sequitur, one has to have a skill of not causing a fight in the moment, but basically shutting it down, because some people, the way their minds work, they're just disruptors. Because I run into that all the time. Technical meetings, community meetings, I've had fights in both places, not fist fights, but verbal
Ego.
sparring, egos.
Yeah.
You said blah blah, you did. I said, no, I didn't. I could show me.
Yeah.
No, you misunderstood it. But I have to walk around with an open hand, so hold on to nothing too tightly.
Well, I just want to say one thing about that right there is you're absolutely right. There are disruptors who want to ruin good community organizations, good meetings, every day of the week. And some of them are very focused, Henry. We recently had a blow up in one of ours. They're very focused on, you didn't do this or that. And so now I caught you.
Mm-hmm.
Once I catch you, I will adjudicate you as the judge, and now you will be punished.
Mm-hmm.
And if you try to do anything to say, hey, well, I would like to first apologize, then I would like to seek forgiveness, and thirdly, I would like to move into restitution to make this right. There's many stages of correcting mistakes, and they are uninterested in it, brother. It is more about, I know I caught you. And now I'm going to excruciate, torch you, light you on fire, and smear you all over the internet and to everybody I can think of. They're not anywhere interested in these groups and community organizations with restitution, forgiveness, seeking atonement, publicly making a statement. What I said was wrong. Also, I often tell people, like, my mind is ready to be changed today through common sense.
Yeah, let me add this to it.
Systems, I will change my iron core.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Let me add this
Makes
to
sense
it.
to me.
Yeah, it does. What you're saying makes absolute sense to me. And I guess the profound thought I would add associated with that, which is worth unpacking another day, is that there's a certain power of living in forgiveness. Because see, what happens is the notion of wanting to punish and get justice in the moment is balanced out by notions that come out of sacred text. It's like, regardless of how you want to define God, because we're using words that we're giving meaning to, it's like there's a saying that says, vengeance is mine, thus says the Lord, right? And so if one truly believes that, that means that I don't have to throw the blow, right? They're going to get hit, right? I don't know how, and maybe I shouldn't care. Although inside of me, it's like I have a feeling I want to get them, but that's a bit of pride. So part of the wisdom and humility comes from spending something valuable, where we have to spend pride in order to gain that humility. Now, what I found the reward is by not smacking the person at the time and just kind of going, "Ooh, okay, I don't know what to say," and scene's over, end of scene. And then 6 months later, that person shows up again in some situation you would never imagine. They were connected to that, and because you didn't beat them up, the door is still open, right? They deserved in your mind to get beaten up, but you didn't, right? You restrained yourself. I've seen that happen over and over again, that by forgiving in advance, then the surprise comes later. It's like, oh, okay, that's your uncle, right? I'm glad we're friends, and we didn't. I'll tell you a specific. I had to deal with a company where we could have just blew up online and said a bunch of stuff. And I basically said, what good is that going to do either of us except for ruin both of our reputations? I told you the best thing I can do. Now, if you want to help, do step 1. Otherwise, I'm doing step 1 alone, and then 2 and 3. The most probable is 1. That's all I have to say. So I'm never going to go back like that.
Yeah, and I think Adelaida Vasquez said they're finger pointers and not action takers, blah, blah, blah. Those disruptors are not here to help. They're here to test your resilience. We had a bunch of people that were commenting today. Thank you for all the comments around the world. We can share those on the stage. Also, I want to say hello to Istiak Doza in Bangladesh, is watching over on Instagram. Frankie Kenke, Betsy Lives, and Arunduk17. Thank you guys so much. Tons of folks out there on Facebook today, LinkedIn Live, YouTube, the Twitch Entertainment Network, also Instagram. Henry Gage, community organizer, thank you so much for joining us today and doing so much. I would like to add also the presidents of the United States, like George Washington, a great slaveholder, as well as Madison and many of the founding fathers, all grew hemp. They cultivated it on vast hundreds of acres of crops and sold hemp. And so we know that from the founding fathers. And I was quite pleased last night that Ken Burns on the American Revolution was smearing George Washington publicly on television across the world, and mentioning that when he went to Massachusetts, he was quite shocked to see the Ethiopian black troops en masse, hundreds of them lined up in the blue continental uniforms of the Revolutionary Army. And he asked people there to please stop enlisting these blacks into the Revolutionary Army. I don't want to see it. And that's because he was a slaveholder from Virginia. So Ken Burns really did, so far, I'm only on 1.5 episodes, but I was surprised to see that he was actually going to tell the truth about the American Revolution. and our founding fathers. Quite surprised. It's 12 p.m. I want to thank you so much, Henry, and shift it over to our Secretary General for the world.
If you could show that picture just as we exit, this was the Judea that we want to honor for January. You mentioned you might want to bring her on in or sometime next year. So for those who want to have an impact, this lady helped work with Senator Kennedy, the late great Senator Kennedy, to bring healthcare to Africa. So check out that GoFundMe. I want to thank you for being here today. Thank you.
I know we have November and December open, so if we can get her in there for that, that'd be great. Just apply. Anybody, in fact, watching our shows, if you would like to apply to be a speaker, they are available on our website, tgeoc.org. You can apply anytime you would like. Just go on there to tgeoc.org, and the application is actually right there online. It's pretty quick, pretty short, pretty small. Mr. Secretary General, would you like to take us out, sir? Oh, you're muted, and let me get you there full screen, good buddy.
Thank you, Marty, and thank you, Henry Gage. It was such a profound, insightful talk that I got connected with my own understanding of what it means to be on this planet. I'll tell you why, because I heard a great musician speak, and he said about a time when he sang, the whole audience just stood still, like a third stage. He was asked what happened, and he said, when the distance between humans disappear, God appears. And that's the sum total of what I take home today, and I leave the floor to everyone. Thank you so much.